So it's 9:30, more or less. So we can start with the first day keynote. And I'm really happy to have Paul Peitz, an ex-colleague of me, joining me for the keynote about capabilities. And I didn't add a slide for our bios profile. So
it's not so interesting at all. So I mean the normal stuff, starting life as an ABAP developer at SAP, and then like doing some consulting, development, ending up at Deutsche Bahn.
Okay.
So that's about it.
Okay. So then we can get started. So I think it will be now my presentation part for the next 30 minutes. Then Paul will join us again and talk about his view on the current ABAP development challenges. And then we will have, it's 10 minutes, 50 minutes he has, and then the presentation will always be over. No? Perfect.
That's the plan.
Oh, you can take a seat again. So, capabilities. I'm not sure, is there anyone an architect and knows the word capability?
Not everybody at once.
Whoa. So it's not an architect conference. So capability, you can look it up in the dictionary. It's the power or ability to generate an outcome. And if you're talking about enterprise architecture or architecture in general for IT systems, we have to say, okay, it's the ability to do something. And if you know maybe a little bit of TOGAF says, okay, it's a business capability. So what the business can do. Yeah? So it's something like, imagine you want to have an inventory, asset management. You want to be able to sell goods, logistics, to ship stuff, or write an invoice. So this is the business capability you want to achieve, make money. Ensure that your stock is always up to date. And if we look at the business side of this is a business requirement. We also have to say, okay, what does it mean for us as SAP developers or SAP architects or SAP consultants? It's more important than you may think or believe, because the capability question answers why are we working with SAP? So why did our company decide at one point in time to buy SAP, to implement it, and to run the business on top of SAP? And where do we get into this? Why do we need to work with SAP or have the pleasure to work with SAP? Because it's also a standard tool. It's ERP system from SAP is to run business processes, standard business processes. So why do we still need to adopt it, adjust, or need to develop new stuff for it when it's standard? Because it's also the idea behind SAP. You get out of the box a system to run your business. And if you look at this, we will have to look at how enterprise architecture works a little bit. We have to say, okay, we have our business, we have our IT systems, and how do this fit together? And from the business side, you have to say, okay, business has some requirements. They want to sell something, want to be able to send an invoice. They have some legal requirements, and they are saying, okay, I need to achieve something. I need to. My business is about selling you a good, and the logistics behind it. And this is then a capability that is formed out of it, and it may be functional or technical. Or if you look at a shopping cart, for instance, you can say, okay, I need an application that I can sell stuff with. People can enter the business, the name, the shipping address, and so on. And also maybe a technical requirement behind it, like it needs to run on a mobile device. It needs to be offline capable. If I want to do asset management, inventory management, maybe I want to have it on a RUC device, on a mobile device, and it should be offline enabled. And that is where the product side comes into play. And that in our case, normally it's SAP. Some people from SAP are developing a product and also is offering a certain set of capabilities. Could be like asset management, for instance. SAP is developing a product for asset management, and it offers some functional and some technical capabilities. And now we have the task to match those requirements from the business with what the product is offering. And this is, pretty easy. To look at what you need, what your business side needs, and you look what the product actually offers. You make a match and you find out, okay, this is a match, one-to-one, it works perfectly, or there's a gap. So either it's not offered, so I have really a gap, or it's like more or less. Yeah, the 80-20 rule, for instance. And you have to say, okay, I can use it or not. This product works for my use case, for my business use case, or not. And if you do this across all your business processes, you can find out, okay, for some parts, for some specific process tasks, there is a gap, and I need to develop something. I need to fill the gap. The business requirement still exists, just the product is not able to fulfill the business requirement. And this could be like just one specific task or even a whole process where we have to say there's the gap. Even SAP is not offering a complete solution to cover every single process of a customer. This is not possible. So those axes are the gaps, and the gaps are pretty good for us because it means it's a gap where we have to do something. We can do custom development to create a new application, a new process. Maybe it's just an enhancement where we have to say, that information is missing from the standard application, like a new field, a new input form, a workflow or something. And the axes are good for us because we have something to do. At the same time, it also means the X for the company, it's still a cost factor. If the solution I buy, I need still to develop something, so I pay money for SAP to get a specific feature, but I still have to invest on top of it. So it's also a cost factor, it needs time. There's also a risk. We will always have risk factors if we have to develop something. Maybe that our development takes too long, it's too costly, or that afterwards we still realize, or the one application we did is not enough, we need another app, So risk is always there. And if we take a look a little bit back at the good old times, there was one thing always when it comes to development of SAP application, it was pretty easy. This is just a high-level example, but as you can see here, the developer did not have to take too much care about the UI or about the select fields and how to represent it. The task from the functional department may have been, I need to get the flag data. And the developer in the end only had to focus on how to get the data, how to fulfill the business requirement. The business requirement is not necessarily, I want to have a table, I want to be able to sort. The business requirement would have been, I need the flag data. Nothing else. And the developer was able to focus on this business requirement and not necessarily on how to create the layout, how to create the app, where to put stuff, how to do ordering, sorting, and so on. Because SAP said, hey, just give me the data, I do the rest. You focus on what's important for the business. And if we take a look at this simple fact, we can have to say SAP was always pretty cool or pretty easy for custom development. To get a rock solid foundation. I mean, NetWeaver ABAP, it's battle proofed. It just works. If your application is not working normally, it's because you have a bug in your application, not on the underlying technology stack. And it just works. It's enterprise ready. You have support. It's a really strong technical foundation. You could also reuse resources. Not only because many applications run in the same stack, but also you could say, hey, I have an ABAP developer that knows MM. I also can use him at least to help me debug an HCM application or fill a small gap. So it wasn't really necessary to upskill the person to a completely different technology stack. It was able to reuse what was already available. And this also meant we had a really high developer efficiency. And of course, it's business friendly. Domain modeling is something that in the SAP world you do since the beginning. Bags, mandant, functional locations, equipments, and so on. if you leave the SAP world, this is totally new to the JavaScript developer, that you can talk with a business user on this kind of domain knowledge. And this is really what I have to say. This is the strong foundation for every SAP developer. When the classical SAP developer is a full stack developer, we are there to support the business process. It's not about creating asteroids games. It's really about focusing on the line of business applications. And you can do it from the database up to the UI without having to take care too much about the UI stuff. And long-term support, I mean, we are taking care of the core business processes. The core business process normally runs for 10, 20, 30, or even longer. And even if you're saying, hey, this is some new stuff we have here, it's very likely that a colleague that is not yet born will be able to maintain your code in 30 years. Because this is also expected. So if we take a look at this, we really have to say the access are great. We have a job, we can solve them. It's not really a big problem. And even the cost factor, if you compare it to other technologies, it's not really a cost factor because you are not the whole team that the company or your customer or employer needs to hire to get something done. It's just you. The one-man software fabric. The full stack developer. It's not a promise, it is a reality. So even if you're saying, oh, it is really expensive to do this, it's still cheaper than you go to a different vendor or different technology. But there are also risks, or maybe we can also call them challenges. Because the world is changing, SAP world is also changing, and one part that made always SAP great is the integrated system. And if we take a look at the integrated system stuff, just to give you a small overview, this is being torn away, the integrated part. As we have, for instance, here, just look at the SAP portfolio. What earlier would have said it's in my stack, like SuccessFactors, it was HCM, SAP took it away. And now we get, of course, HCM for S4, but still, core functionality SAP is moving away, which also makes sense. Don't get me wrong. It makes sense to move some functionality into the cloud because sometimes it's really like, it's a standard process. But most companies do not care too much about the HR processes. It's just like, I want to use it. Business Network or Concur or any other field, there's a lot of services that SAP is pulling out of the core. It makes also sense. And also we have the BTP environment. And if we take a look at the BTP environment, you may realize, oh, it's something I have to take care is a myriad of services. So one problem you can see here already is 20 years ago it was one system, and today you have to take care of way more ways to create a solution. You have to integrate way more solutions, and you might also be driven to know more technologies and more services and roadmaps and so on. So it's getting a little bit more complicated, which is not bad per se, but it makes our life not easier. And one of the technical foundation points we had earlier, the one system, everything is integrated, and you could just say, hey, you know MM, now you can also do FE at least to help me debug it a little bit. Gets a little bit more complicated. And if you take a look at the standard recommendation for some solution from SAP, for instance, your enterprise asset management, in the earlier days, it might have been maybe 1, 2, or 3 solutions at max you had to integrate. SAP is focusing now more on specific solution parts to offer a more tailored solution for every use case. But of course, it gets a little bit more complicated. Suddenly, it's not just your S4, your ERP system you have to know. You find out, oh, there's also several modules in there. I have to learn the BTP, I may have to learn the business network, asset collaboration, APM, FSM, mobile services, IoT services, many other BTP services, and it doesn't stop here. So it's getting more complex. It's not easier. It's getting more complex. Business also likes this, so do not think that this is done by SAP to make our life more complicated. SAP knows what the customers want, and customers also want this kind of architecture because it makes it easier for them to select a specific solution for a specific use case. So this is a little bit like best of breed is back. Yeah. But our problem here is in the old days, you had got the task, hey, help me to write a report, do a debugging session, I do not know. And you were like busy maybe for one day to get the first walking skeleton done. You were able to present it to a functional department. It maybe in a month the report was ready to be shipped. And we're not talking about a super complex report, but it was possible to ship things really fast because you also were the one-man software fabric, which means if you had to solve a problem, it was you to solve the problem. You didn't have to ask maybe other people to help you. And this is changing. Yeah, things get a little bit more complex. And today, your functional department, your customers may come with an idea. Oh, I want to have an inventory with a mobile device, offline capable, integrated into I don't know how many other solutions. And you have to start thinking first about what kind of services do I need? What is the architecture? How does this stuff integrate? Do I have the skills to do this? Do I need to upskill myself first? Classical use case here, for instance, is if you have to integrate services from SAP on the BTP with single sign-on. Everybody knows how single sign-on works, what is OpenIT Connect, how does SAML 2 works, what is an X509 certificate, how does the API Business Hub work, what is this damn header thing I have to send, what is the CSRF token, and you're just wondering, I just want to call an API, why is this so damn complicated? And suddenly you're going to have to realize, oh, at first I need to upskill myself. I need to attend a training. I need to do some workshops. Then you have maybe different teams at the company you have to talk with suddenly because you realize, oh, I have a team for API management. Oh, I have a team for BTP. Oh, I have a team for security. Oh, I have a team for whatever. And you have to get everybody on the table because you just want to make a connection from a BTP to an on-premise system via the cloud connector, and suddenly you have a whole chaos because you have destinations, you have single sign-on, you have to find someone that is setting up a cloud connector. It's getting a little bit more complicated, simply. And before you even reach the point to present something, this is the part here about presenting, you're already stuck in a discussion about budget. And people are like, how much does it cost? And you're like, I just want to consume a remote function. And nothing else, yeah? You don't even get to the point any longer to show to your customer the value of your solution. Yeah. And on top of this, I'm pretty happy. Where is Thomas? Thomas, you entered the room.
Which Thomas?
Fiedler.
Half SAP is called Thomas.
The SAAT, I have to say, the last integrated IDE SAP developed, simply because if you take about all this stuff about different services and developing in Fiori, you may realize, oh, what is going on here? And you have to say, okay, there's an IDE for developers. It's the tool to enable us to develop. Yeah, it makes us productive. And if we take a look at the definition of an EDA, I found something at Wikipedia, and it'll be a bit more simpler. So IDEs present a single program in all development is done. What I see here is a single program and all development. And this is also a problem we have sometimes, because if you want to do, for instance, develop an OData V2 service in the Fiori application on top of it. So you have V2 if you're an ERP system, ECC system. It was like maybe I can use ATT for this kind of stuff. Perfect. Then you had to say, oh, I want also to create an application on top of it. Then it was like, take Bus or take VS Code. Now, at least most of the ABAP developers I know are not fans of VS Code or Bus, because this is a complete different environment. And they have to switch the environment, and when they do something in the OData development with SAGW, it's a transaction, so they are back at a subGUI. And even if you're working with OData V4, it's getting better, of course, We have ATT for all the web services. It works perfectly. Now you can at least, I still may be corrected tomorrow, at least you also create a shell of an application for your application and deploy it without having to switch your IDE. But if you want to enhance it, I don't know if it's about to work for analytical applications, or if you want to just add some button via custom coding, you are back at the bus environment. And at least in my case, if I click on the publish service, I always have to go back to subQuery and go to the service maintenance and publish the service manually. It was promised a year ago that this bug is fixed. I tried it the last time on a 2023 feature pack 3 release, and it's not working, but maybe me. And also then, of course, there is AI. Everybody is talking about AI. I was watching a little bit about the Sapphire keynote. It's AI everywhere. And I made a small history chart about AI. And we also have to say, if you are in the non-SAP world, you'd be using GitHub Copilot with Microsoft in code since, I believe, June 2022. Holger, he is nicking, so it's correct. Then later on, ChatGPT was released to the normal world. So if you're wondering about the partnership about Microsoft and OpenAI, here we can see it. Microsoft was one of the early investors, users, customers from OpenAI. And they pushed this out really fast. SAP picked it up in September 2023 with Joule. And in TechEd already presented these very cool use cases about ABAPAI, that your AI is writing your unit tests and so on. Pretty nice. Then 2024, nothing. And in 25, since February, we can use it. It's released. You can now say, it took a little bit too much time, but it doesn't matter because the end result is, at least what I've seen from this AI ABAP capabilities, is pretty amazing. So it can write unit tests, it can create applications, it can analyze your code. So this is marvelous, at least what I've seen. And you can also try it out. And now again, a little bit of interaction here. Volker, some people from SAP I think the data is correct because I found it on the blog somewhere on SCN. And what is needed to use this ABAP AI stuff? First, let's take the easy one. You need an S4HANA Private Cloud 2025. Who has 2025 release already?
Everyone.
Everyone. So, but it's on the list. If you have once you have it, you can use it. It's also for free. This license here, as I understand it, is the free license that is available until September, right? September. And I think it would be pretty amazing to see someone being able to use this free trial until September with a 2025 release. But you can also buy the real version, then it's going to work. Then we have, of course, the cloud, the public cloud edition from S4. Who's on a public cloud? Okay, but everybody is on but now everybody is on the ABAP environment, the Steampunk environment, right? Whoa. That's okay, it's like 3 hands are going up for everybody watching online. So yeah, I think the next question I would have been is to ask how many are already working with the ABAP AI Cloud SDK. What's the official name of this stuff? ABAP AI. Someone is using it? Tried it out?
Can someone speak out the name?
So maybe SAP take notes. Yeah, nice offering, but the problem is the entry barrier is a little bit too high. And now I tried something out, and that's because I'm looking again to Holger about the sponsorship for next year. I tried out GitHub Copilot. There's also an ATT Copilot add-on, I think, on your YouTube, something, what about There is also a session about this topic because Microsoft simply did it. So they're also releasing an add-on or the capability to develop ABAP applications. And the problem here is, because I see it as a problem, not as please use it, I see it more as a problem. It's very easy to get this kind of ABAP capability from Copilot working. And you only need a GitHub account. The account is for free, you can use it. And I still believe, what I've seen at least, is that the AI capability from SAP for developing ABAP code is better. Even the Microsoft guy is like, so, because it's you can create Fiori applications with it. It creates really good unit test coverage. It's pretty good at explaining the ABAP code because SAP trained their AI capability with their code, and that's a lot of code. So this is. Yeah, I think it's better to use the one from SAP, but the problem is the entry barrier is a little bit too high. And here at the GitHub, you can simply start using it. And I even tried it out with VS Code. So you can do ABAP development in VS Code officially by SAP. So if you're now in VS Code, you just write ABAP code and you can chat with Copilot from Microsoft and say, hey, do your thing, and it's working. And this is just a simple example. I have another example that is not in the slide here. You can also say, for instance, hey, create an application for password reset of a user, and it's working. And the problem is, this is super easy to set up, but I still believe it's not as good as the one from SAP. But the problem is, in the end, people will start maybe adopt this because it's way easier to get this working. Maybe you already have a license from your Microsoft account or for your company, and you can use it. And on the other side, looking back just at SAP, also you have to get this license stuff solved. And who of you knows whom to contact in your company to get this license worked? One person. Let me guess, you are the ones that are dealing with SAP daily about licenses. This is also a problem because now we also have to first find someone at the company, please buy the license, please make it possible, and then we still have to set up stuff at the BTP with AI Foundation and so on. The entry barrier, I think, is just too high. Yeah. And if people are going to start to adopt this one here, we have the problem that this is pretty easy on the entry barrier. And in the end, when we have to say, okay, is it as good? I'm not convinced that the GitHub stuff is as good as the one from SAP. But if developers start using this, well, then, as we say in German, der Zug ist abgefahren. Later on, it doesn't matter any longer. If SAP says we solved the problem, the company will say, I don't care. When other developers are using GitHub Copilot, you are going to use GitHub Copilot, it's good enough for me. You don't care as a developer. And you will find out that you have a problem to stay as competitive as other people that have access to maybe a better AI capability. But talking about AI, I also like this picture here. Congratulations on SAP, whoever did this kind of picture. I have no idea what this picture is about. I mean, there's a text on top of it. It's talking about the capabilities, reference architecture for best SAP S/4HANA transformation. And I think every team that is working with AI on the SAP side was really trying to get the name on the slide. But I also have to say I don't care about team names or team stuff. I'm only interested how does it help me? And I don't know how this picture is helping me in going to my S/4HANA transformation. I even tried to find S4 on the slide. I found it. It's first, it's next to PIPO. Yeah, PIPO, that's where they put it. Yeah, and I also like very much, I mean, it is on the slide. S4 is on the slide, don't get me wrong. But it's written also S4. We have other teams or product names from the AI that are just like this, like 20, 30 characters. There was enough space for S4HANA. Not enough space, it's just S4 and subterm tells me it's an invalid term. Or as we say in Germany, lieblos dahingerotzt. But it is there. I just don't know how to understand this picture. But if you treat also your S4, I mean, it's still your ERP system, your core ERP system that, as we have seen now in this representative survey, no one, everybody is using the on-premise version or the private cloud version. Public cloud was non-existent. So just remember, this is what companies are running. It's a S4 system. And SAP is also treating their core system just like a box. Companies will also just use it like a box, and it means for enterprise architect it's a system of records, and you do not want to have your ERP system treated as a system of records. But also what SAP is doing here is, again, they are focusing on the cloud ERP, and everything on else is just applications you can put on top of it. It makes sense from an SAP side, but if you're doing it like this, there's also the risk, also for us, that companies are doing this. And if this is happening, we have a real problem, because I do not want to switch my career to Workday or to Oracle. I made a severe time investment for SAP, and I hope that this is not happening, but we need the tools to ensure that this is not happening. So we need the tools, the help from SAP, that we can stay competitive compared to the other companies. And that's also where AI can help us. For instance, if we take a look at here, I've found some areas where AI, I think, should support us. So for the code and for the build part, I think SAP is on track. So we can use it, the AI capability from SAP, to analyze our code, to make unit tests, to help us write better code, and also to build new applications. You can use a sketch image, and the tool will generate a Fiori Elements application out of it, be it CAP or with RAP as a backend, with services and everything, database tables. But also, we need some help from the AI to get started with all this journey to go for S4. We already have a system landscape, so why not say to Joule, hey Joule, please help me, and this is my current system, create a Fiori launchpad out of it. This is my current set transactions, find the one in the SAP app library, and I find out what kind of enhancements were done to my transactions, and just apply them to the standard transactions from SAP of the Fiori applications. Do some adaptations already, find out what are my variants, can I also bring them back to the newer Fiori Elements applications, what are the people actually using? If the people always have the custom variant of adding or removing columns from a table, just do it also, offer it automatically without me going back every time to the customer and asking to them, the functional people, hey, how are you using the application? Just do it for me. AI is there to enable me to be faster, to be better. Or use AI to evaluate different scenarios from an application, A/B testing. Do your stuff, AI. Or also, regarding about upskilling, for instance, AI, where are my gaps? What kind of knowledge I should invest in? Here's my coding. This is what I wrote in the last 6 months, 2 years. Give me any ideas. Do I know how to write unit tests? Do I know how to write an OData service? I'm still doing classic form routines and Dynamo programming. And let the AI help me to find my skill gaps. Why not? Instead of me trying to figure out if what kind of training I should need, AI can also give me a recommendation. Say, you need to upskill on unit testing or on RAP development. And also, we should never forget, SAP is about processes, core processes, and line of business applications. What the main task we are doing in the end is to enable our line of business colleagues to work better each and every day. And SAP knows this kind of stuff, because if you take a look at the Fiori app library, line of business applications. There are 2,689 Fiori applications for the private cloud edition 2023. SAP is supporting 64 line of businesses, over 34 industry solutions in 656 roles. This is the stuff you need to run a company. And this is what SAP knows how to do. And this is also where we later on are asked to improve this kind of applications, these LOB applications for our functional colleagues, for our department, so they can do their work. And maybe sometimes we are just creating from time to time a new application, but this is the stuff that we need to ensure is working, because companies are buying SAP for this, or not that we can develop some funny games with ABAP. Which brings me almost to Paul. You can all raise yourself, because we also have to make sure that there's a SAP developer capability. And this is, I think, very important, that we also have to ensure that we as SAP developers, we can realize business requirements always faster and with less resources compared to any other alternative, because companies are going for the cheaper or better alternative. And we have to do this not only cheaper and better, but also looking at these enterprise requirements like quality, support, usability, and security. And this is what differentiates us from other developers. And we have to make sure that this is also surviving in the next decades. And now it's your turn.
Thank you very much. Yeah, thank you. You already mentioned it, developers. And also it says here, by developers, for developers. And I started my life as an ABAP developer a bit more than 20 years ago at SAP. Life was easy then. ABAP was simple. Really? That's all I needed. I started there, and it was really, it was a totally change from what I did before. Before I started at SAP, I implemented some Java code. Back then, I even did some Visual Basic. Yeah, you may laugh now, but it was a thing at that time. ActiveX, Visual Basic, and it was so complex. You know, setting up your environment, all these libraries, dependencies, whatsoever. I started at SAP and was like, wow, everything's right built in. You know, you don't need about to care all these libraries. This library is perfect for this and for that, the other one for this, and you have to choose. No, it was there. Things that we take it for given, like select options. It's such a huge thing, you know? One line of code, select options, and it gives you that much power. Built-in database connection. Connecting to a database 20 years ago, it was almost impossible with Java. You know, all that database drivers, whatever. It was such a mess. And ABAP was, it just works. Really. Some lines of code, and it was working. It was giving all the features, authorizations, right, built into it. You know? I mean, later on I learned that it was not everything so easy. You know, when you learn about logical unit of work, you know, that's always a mess. You know, sometimes you have to call some obscure function modules that haven't been touched since the early 90s and only work if you set the parameter to 7a for some reason, you know, without any documentation whatsoever. Yeah, you know, we've all been there, you know, but it was working. It was working for a long time, okay? Now, fast forward 20 years. Now I'm working at Deutsche Bahn in the S4 conversion project. We have a lot of developers that are not the youngest ones, so to say. Yeah, no, like our trains, the developers are pretty old. So but they are still working. I mean, they're working. You know? No, I mean it. I mean it. The first ICEs, you know, they are from the mid-90s. They are still working. You know, they got upgrades. like our developers. And they are still working. They are reliable. They know so much, these developers, on the functional side. But on the technical side, they are stuck in these early 2000s. You know, they know this. Dinpro, ABAP, DEDIC. That's what they know. And it was enough for them to solve all the problems they had. All the requirements could be solved using these three technologies, basically. Yeah? Now, S4. Yeah? Okay. And this is only a part of the new technologies. You know, I had to concentrate on the most basic ones. And now we have, for every requirement, we have to have some kind of charts, decision trees, which technologies we use. And it's not about which technologies we use, but how do we find a developer that knows this technology. You know? And so these developers now have to go to trainings, a lot of trainings. Yeah? We created a curriculum, all these different paths, back-end developer, front-end developer, database developer, you know, all this here. Brandeis Consulting helped a lot with all this. Yeah? And we have developers that just want it. They are eager to learn these new stuff. You know, they dive into every new technology. We have other developers who said, no, ABAP Workbench, that's all I need. You know, not the new stuff. I'm working with 20-year-old code. Why do I need all this? And I think that's exactly the point that SAP has to prove. Is it really helping us with our daily problems? And I think SAP is on the right way. You know? But when they started all these things, it felt for us like a step back. You know? More complexity in implementing stuff without getting more value from it. Think of Fiori. First Fiori UIs. No. I always get the feedback, I want my sub-GUI back. From the functional teams, not from the developers. You know, I'm so much faster with sub-GUI. Also the developers. Eclipse? Oh, no. Not using it. No. Simply no. Now, it's getting better. It's getting really, really better. But still, we have a long way to go. You know? We have to make sure, or SAP has to make sure, that there are easy parts. We need easy solutions for these small problems. Most of our developments are like really small, just adding a field, a report, changing a bit of logic here and there. And you don't need all this for that. You know, it would be faster, or most of the time it was faster, just open up your development environment, Eclipse, but implemented, it has to run. No configuration needed. No, you already told that, yeah? BTP connections, calling services, whatsoever. No. The key selling point of ABAP was the simplicity. And I hope we get that back, yeah? Because at the moment it's like that. And this is the point. I mean, another example. Yeah? Everyone knows it here, right? /H. Where is it? I often get asked this from our developers. When I enter /H in the browser in a Fiori UI, nothing happens. Yeah, why? No. That's what they expect. No, really, that's what they expect. You know, an easy way to debug stuff, to trace stuff. In the same environment where you develop, where you run your programs. And it's not like that, you know? Then someone comes to them, oh yeah, you have to have, when you're in Chrome, you have to open that HTTP trace, and they're asking, what? What's HTTP? You know? Because they never needed it. Why? Why do you need HTTP? For solving some business problems. That was hidden before, for a good reason. Yeah? Because it was not part of the work for them. Everything technical was more or less hidden from them. And now we expect them to learn this, to check these traces. And I had a look at this. I mean, of course, then when you dig down, you find the service, and then you go to the service definition, and then to the service implementation, and you set an external breakpoint, and whatsoever. Yeah, it's possible. Everything is possible. But it's not that simple anymore. And I hope this comes back. No? I don't know. I mean, there's a good reason for this. I understand SAP, because we don't only have the small developments. We have huge developments. Yeah? And with all the simplicity, it's not suitable for these huge developments. That's the other side. You know, they are not maintainable anymore. They're like 20 years old. They started small. They grew bigger. And there, I think we need both. You know? On the one hand side, we need these easy solutions for easy problems. And on the other side, we need tools that help us for these huge custom developments. You know, with a lot of data, a lot of custom logic, custom UIs. You know? And this is the other thing. They cannot be solved with these simple DDIC, ABAP, sub GUI. You know, there we need all these tools, and it's users expect more from us than these simple UIs. That's the other side. And now I don't know how SAP will do it. You know, at the moment, it looks, going one slide back, it looks like that. And what I want is, I want a shortcut here. There has to be some kind of shortcut, or at least support for the developers going through all these technology options. It's like a jungle. Yeah, and you need a one path through. And I hope we will get there. Same with the IDEs. Now, Tobias already mentioned it. We have ABAP in the ABAP Workbench, still sub-GUI based tools. We have Eclipse. We have the Business Application Studio, Visual Studio Code. We may have additional test tools for OData services. So it's getting more complex. Yeah, and I hope we find a solution for that. I mean, part of the solution is, of course, training the developers. And I have to say, the younger developers, they are better at this. But often they lack the functional knowledge. That's what I noticed. They are nerds, tech nerds. 20 years ago, when I started at SAP, already in my team, I was the only one who studied computer science. No one else did it. They came from the functional side. They did totally different things. And for them, ABAP was right. Now it's changing. Most of the younger developers, they studied computer science. But the question is, what is better? You know, training someone that has the functional knowledge in programming, providing them an environment where he can just, write down his functional knowledge into code. I think that was always the way for ABAP, making it easy to get your knowledge to code. Now it's more about choosing the right technology, choosing the right tools, and then I hope to get the functional stuff also done with it. Yeah, I hope it will work. And I mean, we have to find a way through that.
Okay. Jo, upskilling in ICE train.
Upskilling IC Train, ja.
Ja. Tut's?
Hast du angemacht?
Ja.
Das ist grün.
Okay. So then just close rapidly the talk from Paul with maybe a call to action. We have to make sure that SAP developers can be as efficient as in the past, which also means indirectly that we are not as efficient today as we were in the past. So we have to get back to this kind of level. And if it's by, I don't know, wizards, different architecture, or by AI, I do not care. But we have to make sure that we can deliver as fast or even faster than the non-SAP world, because they are eating our lunch. Also, to make it the first step, I do not know about you, but I've worked in my life with enough Citrix environment that are just a pain in the ass to work with, because you do not can simply install things, and internet is blocked for some ever reason, and sometimes you enter the environment, you want to work with ATT, Thomas, and the ATT was maybe updated last time a year ago or even longer, or the person that did this once left the company during COVID, and you have to work with a 5 to 6 year old Eclipse, which means forget it, it's not really working. And what you need sometimes is just an all-in-one installer on Builder. This is here the link or the QR code for getting the Eclipse ATT bundle builder. So you just have to run it on your Windows computer, and it will create a portable Eclipse version with ATT tools installed. I was expecting for SAP to deliver this. And of course also for VS Code, because sometimes you even come to a Citrix environment or customers and you can't really install anything because the proxy configuration is something like black magic. You do not know how it works. I learned how to do this proxy configuration in my last days at the Deutsche Bahn, and I have to say it's black magic. Yeah, because you had to install a non-released proxy that was considered as insecure. So this is just hacking in the end to get something working because of the overall security requirements. So we also created here an ATT builder for VS Code, which is also installing the Fiori tools and a few other plugins regarding Markdown and so on. It also creates, if you run it on your Windows computer, a portable version for VS Code that you could put on the USB stick, or if you're a Citrix admin, you can use it as a starting point to make life easier for the SAP developers or for your non-SAP developers regarding VS Code, because Citrix is no fun. And of course, I also published yesterday the new SAP development tech radar. I've seen now enough
Timo also wants to order the ABAP cleaner and the ADT bundle.
I think it's already in there, but I'm not sure. If not, it's in my version. Yeah, yeah, but
also when Thomas builds the ADT all-in-one installer bundle, then also.
Yeah, but I think it's either it's already published with ATT cleaner or it's on my local version. And I've seen now enough presentations from different companies, and was tech enough to know that at least this development tech had inspired enough of the world economy. So maybe you should also take a look at it if you're not really using it. Adopt it. You should not use it as is. You should always adopt it to your own custom needs, of course. And some tools were added, some were removed. ALV, for instance, is in there, and it should help you to create this thin red line that Paul was showing you, at least to separate the important from the not so important tools, and where to invest and where you should take a look into of replacing it. Yeah. So this is just a help. If you did someone already know that the tech radar, or is it completely new here? So it looks good. And with this, kennen Sie das Ding schon?
Siehst du? Ja, ja.
And with this, I'm going to say thank you. And the leitmotif for every decision taken, first at customers, but also at SAP, should always be to ensure that we as developers are efficient. So we can solve problems and develop stuff as good and as fast with less resources as possible. So every decision you are doing at your company, every decision SAP does when it comes to tool releasing, please always remember, help us to make SAP great at customers. Yeah. And that's it. Next session is then